Fox show's gonna be on the red carpet doing her Xavia Fox red carpet thing.
Hey everybody! Yeehaw! Oh, you can't win if you're not in the game. Give me a beat. Hey everybody! Welcome to Xavia Fox Talks, and I am still your host, Xavia Fox. Guess what we have going on this day? I know you know what it is because I've been tweeting about it all day. Today is the Brothers of the Round Table, Season 2. I am so excited. This year we have a whole new panel of men. I know last year you guys fell in love with Mecca and Scooby and Xavier and Sherwood and Dean and Jeff. But this year I have a brand new panel for you to fall in love with and some brand new fresh ideas and takes on what men think about. Today we're talking about relationships. What they think about relationships. So, I'm not going to keep you guessing and waiting. And this is the question that Khalid picked. What is the role of the man in a marriage or relationship?
Thanks, X. This question, or the answer to this question, has been with me ever since age 0. I grew up as a Muslim, and if anyone knows anything about Islam, is that with men in Islam, they teach you about your roles and responsibilities, and they make you take it serious. So for me, in answering that question, the role is very important, very significant, and very disregarded, if I can give that opinion. And for me, men are supposed to be responsible. No if, no ands, no buts about it. I was having a conversation with my buddy Marcus over here, and we were talking about just the roles of men. And then, I told him that for me, for Khalid, a man should be out here working every day, bringing that paycheck home. And for me, I need to have that white card in my wallet. And Marcus like, well, what's the white card? And I said, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Okay? I need to be able, if me or mine gets sick, we go to that hospital, I pull that card out. I need to make sure that I'm the provider of my home. I need to make sure that I provide safety and security with my family. They depend on me. And for me, some of us men have not taken our roles seriously, or we've let women define our role. We've let society define our role, and that's a no-go. And until we take ownership of our role as men, and especially men in relationships, we're going to have the same outcomes. I'm recently divorced, and I'll wrap this up. Please forgive my long-windedness. And a lot of my friends have been tutoring me about being back here in the single life. And one of the most consistent themes I've kept hearing is, Khalid, you got to know the game out here. And as I tell my friends, I understand that I need to modify some things, but I'm not going to change my character and who I am. God, the God that I love, is going to bring me who I deserve. And I got to believe on it, and I got to stand on that. And that's my opinion.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Which one y'all want to get him first?
Go.
I'm not going to go in on it. What Khalid says is absolutely true. I think a man's role is definitely to be the provider, the leader of the household. However, nowadays, I think of Michelle Obama, the First Lady. How she's able to be that strong woman in her family as well in her community, but at the same time let her man take the lead. But it's got to be up to the men to take the lead. I'm a product of a single mother. So to me, my mother was that leader. She was the one that taught me how to go out here and work hard, study hard, to be able to be successful in life. I do agree with Khalid, having that white card in your pocket is important. But at the same time, and as a man, you can't leave it up to other people, i.e. corporate America, to be able to snatch that card out of your wallet at any given time. Which is why I'm all about entrepreneurship, taking ownership. You know, 'cause one of the things for me is working for corporate America, having my family, my 2 lovely daughters, the fear that I go to bed with, the reason I get on my knees every night to pray, you know, for them and their well-being is that I can go to work the next morning and have everything snatched from up under me because of somebody else's bottom line. And to me, the role of a man is to basically take ownership and control of his life and the situation of his family moving forward. You know, women as well, you know, they have a role as well to support that man, you know, because they said the old saying, go behind every great man is a what? A great woman. I believe that is absolutely true. We see it every day in the president, the first lady, because Barack cannot be Barack if he had to come home to listen to some nagging woman saying, why you been gone all the time? You ain't calling again. What you gonna do about that, Barack?
When you get paid.
Right. You know what I'm saying? You gonna let them talk about you like that, Barack? No, he can't have that. He has to have that woman that can go out there and you know what? And she can speak proudly, intelligently for her man, you know, and defend him in a way that I'm not going to go to the box cut on you if you talking about my man, you know what I mean? And all these women out here, you know these women idolize Barack, you know, they after him. Some women out there, just like they after these athletes. But Michelle, she's so cool, calm, and collected. It allows some man to be cool, calm, and collected. You know what? He goes home every day. He knows he got a woman by his side that's going to ride or die for him. And I think to me, having my wife on my side, knowing she'll ride and die for me, allows me to go out there and face any challenges that's going to come at us as brothers. You know, we're going to get challenged every single day. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a W-2 employee, or a 1099, it doesn't matter. People are going to challenge you because of the color of your skin. No matter what you have in your head, what kind of car you drive, what you got on your feet, it doesn't matter. But you got to be able to go home and talk about your issues with that significant other, that strong woman, and say, baby, I got some suggestions, or you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, and to me, that's in terms of accountability, that's to me the most important thing as a man.
To your point, and I agree with you in regards to bringing in, you know, the bread and being a provider financially and so forth. But I think one thing that's missing in our community is that, in regards to men and our role, is what about the men who are out there diligently trying to work and make a way for their family, but for whatever reason, and we're not judging them, brothers, but for whatever reason, they don't have a job.
Okay.
So what I think has happened in our community is that from whether it's the Bible, our peers, our friends, the church, and so forth, how a man is defined it's I think when a man doesn't have a job, he's defined by that, and as a result, it brings out other things or other things that shouldn't be. I hope I'm explaining this right. I mean, are you all following me? Okay, so if this man doesn't have a job or he's not making a way for his family for whatever reason, what happens to that brother? Is he not a man? Is he not a provider? Because I think that's what happens sometimes, and I think that's how other people, maybe even his family, even his wife, view him because he's not doing that aspect. I think at some point, and it's really not a question, it's just, once again, a discussion.
Right.
I think at some point, our roles as men needs to be defined a little bit more than I'm bringing in the bread. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a period where, unfortunately, he may be going in between jobs or whatever. You know, I'm thankful that I've always pretty much been employed, and I've never really had to deal with that. But my point is that how do we speak to the man and speak to our community when that's absent? Is he not a man at that point?
My opinion is that I think that men, they're supposed to provide leadership above anything, and I think the leadership that they provide should be based off their character. Now, when you provide leadership, you make sure everything gets done. So that may be, you know, me going to work, me making the money, me doing this, me doing that, or maybe I'm married to a woman who makes a lot more money than me. And so now my leadership, I might have to step back, let her do that, and me do something else. But at the same time, you still made sure everything else is getting done. And if you lead with your character, your wife is not going to be flipped to you because of how you are, because of how she sees you. So as long as everything is getting done, it doesn't necessarily have to be you. Personally, that's how I would want it. But Sometimes there's other situations. People do other things, but that don't make him any less than the man who does all of those things, because he don't. He just has to make sure it's getting done. And if it is his wife who is, providing the white card, then that's fine, because it's getting done. But it's getting done in his household, and he is taking care of whatever he needs to do. So I think that, and that could be, he might not have a job, but as long as he lives a certain way, he could be fine. He could be fine in his household, he could be fine outside of the household. But I think that's what it's got to be based on. I think you got to lead, and when you lead with your character, and everything else will be fine.
And on to that point, if that's what works for that family, because
Yes.
if that's what works for that family, that man is comfortable with that, and his wife is comfortable with that, and his children still look at him and respect him as the father, and the wife looks at him as her husband. Hey, listen, it's not the traditional role. It's not. But guess what? That family is working. It works for them. It don't necessarily it may not work for me in my household, but it works for other people in their household. And who am I to judge that? Especially if my household is broken.
Right.
If that's the case.
The issue on that, if I might, the one thing I'm hearing consistently is we're hearing a lot of me's. And I think in the black community, this new generation that we've fallen into, we become, I'm taking care of me. I got my things together, me. And I think that black men, what we've done is we've lost the focus, like back in the 40s and 60s. If you had success, you brought it back to the community. I don't see that anymore. And I think what has defined the black community, and when you hear like white racists or whoever talk, what they talk about, they can do so because we're divided. A man, he might take care of his business, but the rest of the community goes down. Has he really taken care of his business? So therefore, I think there's a whole lot when an individual takes the family into aspect and says, okay, my family will not, I don't have a white card, I have a blue card because I'm a veteran.
Gotcha.
So I can't pull that out for my daughter, so I must take it to the next level to make sure she has other securities in there. And I think as black men, when we have our successes, we don't set ourselves up that if things do not go as planned, that brother that you're talking about, do we have the security to survive that? We don't have to rely on our wife or whatever. If she has it, great. In today's society, we need two families or two people working.
Yes. Yes.
But it falls back, and that's what my point was. If you look at the NBA, it's all about me, I'm done. You listen to rap, it's all about what I got. And I'm hearing it today, okay, what I need to do as a black man, it's all true. But black males, black men, what are we teaching back to our youths? I told my daughter if she ever let some brother come in here sagging and dragging and talking about what he finna do, I said, both of you get was smacked. He's got to come a whole lot more. He need to talk to me what he's not telling you. You need to tell me. Because now we can talk about maybe I can help you. Right. That's the kind of brother I want to work with. Right. So I don't know, I think we're just disconnected as a black community. Whereas, we can take care of ourselves. We can all be Jay-Z. But how much more do you give them back?
Right. But doesn't it start at the home, though, Scott?
It has to start at the home.
And then flush yourself out.
Yeah, but if we're relying on that white card, as he said, you get fired, now what you got? Now you're hoping your wife can pull you through. I think we need to work our savings back up and our communities back up. We have to look at a bigger picture.
I like what he's saying, because with two words that pop into my mind what he's talking about. The first one is partnership. When you're in a relationship, it's called a partnership.
Right.
Absolutely. Most people call, well, marriage is like a business. It is, because I can't go out there and make decisions, especially frivolous one, without coming home and hearing my wife, because he's going to be affected by that. If I go and take all the savings and put it on a bet, and I lose, I'm not the only one that's going to sink on that. And so, and also networking. The Bible teaches us, you are your brother's keeper. You have to help each other, But at the same time, we have to support each other. We can't just be like, okay,
I made it.
Right, I made it, but we get off into a different subject. But it kind of ties into what he's saying is because when it comes to relationships, although a man has a quote-unquote role, I don't really fall into that stereotype. If my wife makes more money than I do, it's great. It can be an example. I can be a teacher. She can be a famous actress. Obviously she's going to make more money than me, but what I'm doing is probably more important to the community, to society. But it really doesn't matter where you fall in on that, as long as you guys can come together with a meeting of the minds and agree to, look, I'm going to make sure you to be the best who you can be, and vice versa. As long as we can get together on that, it really doesn't matter who's accountable. No one person should bear responsibility, especially if you have children, because those children are looking up to both of you guys. They don't go in there and say, my mom, or my dad. If both parents are out, they go to my parents. My parents taught me, not my dad taught me, but my parents taught me. So I think everyone within that partnership or relationship have a certain level of accountability to each other. You know, obviously a mother, when it comes to nurturing, they're better at it. Let's face it. It's not about, oh, you should be in there taking care of the kids. No, you're better at it than I am. But when push comes to shove as a man, if the responsibility fell on my lap, you best believe I'm going to step up, just like any one of you brothers will for our kids, you know?
All right, so we got the man being the provider and the leader and having the white card or the blue card. I never heard of the blue card before, but we are in a wonderful barbershop called Techniques. We're right here at 1575 East Sibley with a wonderful owner, Mr. Marcus Davis. He has been gracious enough to let us film here. It's a wonderful spot. Make sure you check it out if you need a haircut. Or he has a beauty shop right on the other side. So he can take care of you no matter what you need going on. I love the controversy. Whenever I start talking, it just sets people off.